Hello everyone, welcome back to JDCodebase. This is the web development series. In this video, we are going to learn modules in JavaScript. Now, honestly, when I first heard this word modules, it sounded confusing. But trust me, modules are actually very simple and they solve a very real problem that every JavaScript developer faces. If you already know basic JavaScript and you write everything in one big file, the video is exactly for you. By the end of this video, you will clearly understand what modules are, why we need them, how export and import work, and how real project uses module. So let's start slowly and clearly step by step. So we will talk about the import, export, file structure, and browser support. Nothing fancy, just a pure basic beginner friendly. Now in this video, you will learn what JavaScript modules are, why modules are important in real project, how export work, both name and default, and how import works, how files are structured in real project, and how to use modules in HTML. We will also write code together, so don't worry. Now, my first question is, what is module? Very simple answer is, a module is just a JavaScript file. Yes, nothing special, it's just a JavaScript file. But the important thing is each module has its own scope. Variable and function inside a module are not global, and code is split into small reusable pieces, small chunks, files. And the easiest way to remember this is the one file is equal to one responsibility. Means one file for the math logic, one file for login module, login logic, one file for the signing module, one file for the API calls, and that's it. Now, why modules are important? Why do we even need modules? Because without modules, code becomes messy, the files becomes very large, and debugging becomes painful. Modules help us the keep code organized and read the code easily, maintain code in the future, avoid global variable problems. Also, very important point is the all modern framework like React, Vue, Angular, and Angular are built using the modules. So if you want to move forward in JavaScript, modules are the not the optional, it is the necessary in this. Now, before modules, let's see the problem first. Imagine everything written in one file. You have a variable like var total is equal to 0, function add a comma b, return a plus b. Now this total variable is accessible everywhere in the whole file, and any other script can change it by mistake. So this causes a bugs, conflicts, unexpected behavior. This is how beginner actually usually start, and that's okay. But this approach does not scale. Now with modules, the solution one, the instead of a one big file, we split code in a multiple file. Each file does only one job. We share only what is needed. For example, math.js file is for the math logic. Main.js file is for the main app logic. So let's actually write this code in the VS Code. Let's move. Here I have a folder modules in JavaScript. Inside it, let's create a index.html file, a basic HTML structure, and then let's make a new folder called the JS, and inside this create a math.js file, and also a main.js file. Now let's start with the math.js file. Inside this write const pi equal to 3.14. And one more thing, always remember when you declare the variable, when you write the constant variable, always use the capital letter, uppercase alphabets. Don't use the lowercase alpha. This is the good practice in the coding. And now let's write a function add a comma b, and inside this return a plus b. Now how you can export these? Just write export keyword, export const pi export function add a comma b return a plus b. So the word export means I want to share this with other files. Here we export a variable called py, and we export a function called the add. You can export multiple things from the same file. This is the called the name export actually, and it's very simple. Now let's move to main.js file. Let me make it split here. Now inside this, just write import and this curly braces and from math.js, and inside this I have py for importing and means export, and next one is the add function. Now let's use this console.log add 5,9. Now let's run this. First I have to move to JS folder, then cd modules.js, cd js, and now let's run the node main.js file. If you see 5 plus 9 is the 14 here. So import means bring the code from the another file, and the curly braces are used in the name export, only in the name export, and here names must actually match with the exactly, like I write here py and add, always exactly match the exact name. And here dot slash math.js means same folder, file name the math.js. If you forget the .js, this extension of the file, it will not work. Now when I run this, I get the 14 as expected. The 5 plus 9 is the 14. Now let's see a default export. Like default export is used when a file mainly export one thing only. Let's create a new file, calculator.js file, and inside this let's write export default function multiply a comma b, and inside this return a comma a multiply b. Yes, wait a second. Now here export default means this is the main thing of this file, this export default keyword, and only one default export is allowed per file. Like if you write here export default this means in this file, then this is the one. Here I write just export const function py and this add function, but here I write export default function. Now let's move to main.js and write import multiply, and if you see VS Code actually detect the what I want to import multiply from the calculator.js file, and just console.log multiply 2,4. Now let's run this node main.js. I get the 2,4 is the 8 as expected. So important difference is here is the no curly braces needed here. If you see, I write the py and I and add function in the curly braces, but here multiply is written without curly braces, and name can be anything here. Like if I write multiply 2 number, it works. Multiply 2 number. Let's run. As expected, I get the 8 and as the answer. But if I want to change here name, add 2 number, so this will not work. Let's say as expected, I get the error, the add 2 number syntax error. The requested module method does not provide an export with the name add 2 number. So that's why the name can be anything in the export default, but cannot be in the name export in this. Now this is why it is called the default. And we can also write the mix export, means you can also mix default and name export in one file. This is the common in real project. Example is like default for the main function and name for the helper function. Like here in this file calculator.js, I have one export default function multiply. I can also write export divide function. Oh, sorry. Export function divide a comma b with the return a divided by b, and I can use here is the by just write a curly braces and get the divide function and console.log divide 4 divided by 2 means 4 comma 2. Now let's see, 4 divided by 2 is the 2 as expected. So no need to memorize, just understand the idea. And now real project structure is the similar to like here I built. First is the folder name, then inside this index.html file, and one is the JS folder for the files, and inside this I have main.js as the main file, and this calculator.js and maths.js as the helper file here. So this makes the project clean, readable and scalable. This structure is used everywhere in the projects, in the real world projects. So we cover import, default export, default import, mix export also. Real world use cases is like authentication for auth.js handle the login and logout function, and main.js uses those function in the API calls. And so this same pattern is used in the real application, not just tutorials. Now using modules in HTML. Now this part is very important. In index.html file, you must write script like here. Wait, where is my index dot? Yes, when I normally I write script tag and just write, or by using this src and give the value like this normal one, and there is no issue with that. But in the using while using the modules, I have to must write the here script module type is the module here, must write, must return. So if you forget this type module, nothing will work here, and modules only work when the browser knows this is a module. And let's see the important rules is like always use relative path. Like here I write the double dot and slash. Sometime I write the single, means here single dot and slash. Always use this for the relative path, and always at .js. This is required in the extension. And modules use strict mode automatically, and modules load after HTML basically. So these rules solve 90% of beginner errors. Now modules work in all modern browser, Chrome, Edge, Firefox, Safari, but very old browsers do not support them. So modules need a server. So don't open HTML file directly, and use live server or any local server. So there are some common beginner mistakes: forgetting type module, missing .js extension, wrong file path, opening the file without server. If your code does not work, check these first. So let's quickly summarize. So modules help us to organize the code, avoid global problems, make JavaScript professional, and export shares the code, import uses the code. And if you understand modules, you are already writing modern JavaScript. So thanks for watching this video. I know modules can feel confusing at first, but with practice they become very natural. And the PPT and all code files are available in the description. So if this video helped you, like the video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the JDCodebase. See you in the next video.